Hello and welcome. So we have our call to action pretty much finished now, and we need to make some more elements for the page. We can see on top we have this header, and that's what we're going to work on today. But first we need to talk about the project architecture, because the project right now is just an app that returns the CTA top, and that's why we only see the CTA top. So we're going to need to make some pages that can be returned to app that can contain the CTA top, the header, and all the parts of the project that we're going to make. So let's head into src and make a new folder called pages. In pages, make a file called landing.js because we're making the landing page now. And we'll do all of our boilerplate real quick. We'll import React from React. And then we will make our landing function. So I'll just make a const landing and fat arrow function. And there will be a return. I'm just going to export it first. Export default landing. Okay, so we know on our landing page that we'll have the call to action. So let's bring that in. Import CTA top from, and then we just have to find it. So up one, into components, into CTA top, and there's our file. Now we will return, and this will no longer just be one file. So we'll have our parentheses open up here, and inside of here, we'll return the CTA top. And let's wrap this in what's called a fragment. And a fragment will give us a container around the CTA that will do no styling to it or anything like that. So we'll put our fragment here and below it. And now on this page, we could add things above the CTA top like we want to today when we actually do our header. So let's put this into our app instead. We'll import landing. We'll head into app.js, and we can get rid of CTA top, and now we can import landing. Slash, and that was pages landing. And then here we could just return the landing page now. Now nothing should change in our app, and nothing has. But I seem to be offline at the moment, so let me make sure I yarn start this. Okay, there we go. Nothing changes and nothing has, but the cool thing about this now is, say we want to add something above it, we could just put a div here and write header. And there we are. Now we have two things on the same page, so that's going to be helpful as we start writing our header now. The first thing we'll want to do is in components, make a new folder, and the folder will be in the components folder here. It'll be called header. And inside of there, make one file called header.js and capitalize header. And let's do the import statements for that. So import React from React. And then let's make that header. So const header. And it'll just be a fat arrow function again. Export default header. Now, instead of just returning everything like we did here in the same page, we're going to break this up into sections. The left part, the middle part, and the right part. So let's do that first by making a div with the actual header. That'll be what holds everything. That's the actual container header. So we'll do our container div here. Now first, div class name equals header. And inside of here is going to be our header left, header center, and header right, but we're actually not going to write them in this file. We're going to write them somewhere else. But for right now, let's put some divs here so we could at least design the header container itself. So we'll put a div here, and let's call it class name equal to header left. And we can make it self-close. You know what? Let's put header left inside of it. So we'll write, let's just write left. And then we'll close it up. Great. So we'll do this 2 more times for header center and header right. Center, and then here we'll do right and right. Let's make our SCSS for it. So we'll make a file underscore header.scss. And we know what we're working with here. We'll first have the header itself. So let's put that in. Dot header. Open that up. Inside of there, we'll have the header left, header center, header right. Let's make those end underscore underscore left, end underscore underscore center, and finally right. I'll just save that up. I'll head into main SCSS at import and get that header in there. Perfect. Now I'll run my SCSS command with yarn run SCSS, and we're on. So when I save there, it'll update. Let's bring that into our landing page now. We need to bring in the header. I know we're going around a lot of files here, but this is a lot more like React programming. It goes in little pieces and then you put the pieces together. So I want to get you a little more used to that as we go through this. So let's import that header. // to components to header, and then header.js. Perfect. Now in the fragment, underneath where it says fragment, put in the header. You can make it self-closing, and there's an, oh, you know what? I didn't return anything from the header. Yeah. Return. If you don't have a return statement, it doesn't know what to do, so that was a big mistake there. Cool, we have it there. We have left, center, right, but we want them to be side by side. There's a pretty easy fix for that. Go over into header, and the first thing we'll do is display flex. Now they're side by side, left, center, right. That's a little bit more of what we're looking for. I like to define positions here. We'll do a position of relative. And let's justify the content. Space between. Space between is cool. It's going to push everything as far away from each other as possible. But let's see right now. There we go. We have the left, center, and the right. I do want to define the width here, but I want to define it a different way than we have so far. It's going to be 100 viewport width, so VW. That's going to be 100% of the viewport width, so it will take 100% of the screen every time. And the height for this element will be 7 rem. Now let's take a look again. Okay, we could see the 7 rem is pushing down this element here, but we can't really see the 7 rem itself. I'm going to put a background color for right now. Background color, we'll do red. And now you can see what's going on. Now there's the 7 rem from the top to there. Now we need these to be centered within this box as well. So let's head back into header, and where we did justify content, below that do align items, and that will be center. And now all the items move to the center of the up and down area. So on the y-axis, rather than what we were doing on the x-axis before, when we were doing the width, now we aligned according to the height here. Let's get rid of that color because we know what's happening now. Now I want to define the left, center, and right. Basically, how big are they going to be? The left is going to be 30% of this, and make sure you write width first. The center will be 40% with 40%, and the right will be the other 30%. The center is that search bar, so that search bar I'd like to be a little bit bigger because it takes up more space. We can see what's going on here. We're no longer centered, but each box is centered. You can kind of see it here. Maybe we should just color them. Yeah, there you go. You see the header center. The box itself is centered, but the words inside are all the way to the left. And that's okay, because on the left, we're going to want something like that. In the middle, we'll want it to be centered, and on the right, we'll want to push it to the right. So let's do our center and right for that. So our center, we want to justify content to the center. And we also need to make it a display of flex. So we could use that feature, and here we are. Now the center one is in the center of its box. Now the right one we want to move to the right, so let's get into there, do our display of flex first, and then justify our content to flex end. Great, now we have the left, center, and right exactly how we want them to be, and their boxes are taking up the amount of room that we want. You can see the difference. That's 318. This one is 425 pixels, and that's the difference between 30% and 40% on this viewport. Let's get started on that header left. So inside of header right here, make a new file, call it headerleft.js. And we will import React from React. And we're also going to import our logo. So import logo from ... We have to get to our images. Images/logo. That's our logo being imported right there. Now we can make the const function here. So the const was header left. And let's export default header left. Great. Now in header left, we're just going to return. Inside of this return, we'll make a div with class name equal to header _ left. And inside of there, we're going to put our image for the logo. And just take a look at what that is. We want to put the logo on the left side. That's what we're looking at. So the image will be our logo. Let's make a class name for that. It'll be header. Header _ left -- image. The src for that, that's the source. This is the source property, will be the logo. And we brought in the logo right up top. So that will be the source for this image. You have to give it an alt, and the alt is just a text property. We'll just write in logo. And it could be self-closing, and that's set up. So let's head back into header and import this header left. So import header left from, and then just find it. It should be in the same folder, header left. Now where we have left here, we'll get rid of all of this and replace it with header left. And let's see what we have here. We have our logo in on the left side. It looks pretty good right now. It looks a bit big, so we will adjust for that. So let's just go into our header SCSS and just make a quick adjustment for that. We're in header left here, and then we need to go end --img, the header left image, and we can move that maybe down to 90%, 80%. I'm going to do 90%. So width 90%, and you know what? Let's make the cursor a pointer. Good, good. We want that cursor to be a pointer here because when we do go over, the cursor isn't a pointer. Let me see what I wrote wrong. I wrote the entirety of image here, and I'm going to keep it that way. So let's just go back in here and write image. Okay, yeah, now we have the hand tool going on there. So it goes to the pointer cursor when we go over it, and we're going to want to use this button to get back to the home page or the landing page, the page we're making right now. That's what this button will navigate back to. That's why I have the cursor on it. We haven't set that up yet, but it does look pretty good. I'm not so sure we need this width. It looks pretty good the way it is. Now, you know what, it is a bit big. Let's do it. So we'll do a display of flex and a width of 90%. Yeah, that looks a little better to me. That definitely does. Okay, we'll keep it like this. And let's move on to the right side. The center component is going to be a little bit more difficult to make, so let's go to the right side and do some fun stuff with that first. So here we are in the header. We'll make a header right now. .js. And import. Import React from React. After that, we are going to need to get some icons in here. So I'm going to do that right here. I'll just Control-C to exit the program here. And now I will install yarn add react-icons. React icons are really cool. I have their site pulled up here, and you can see it's React icons if you want to add it in there, but you just import an icon and then you can kind of just use it as you would a component, just like that. Really, really good looking icons from a lot of different libraries that React icons put together here. So we're going to be using this icon right here, this shopping cart. Let's get started on that. We will import it. Import the icon's name is, you're going to have to look at the screen a bit here. AI outline shopping cart, and that'll be from React icons /AI. Now we can make our const header right. It'll equal a functional component. It will export default header right. And inside of it, we're just going to return the icon that we want. So return a div with the class name equaling header right. Now let's get that icon in there with AI outline shopping cart, and we can close it. But inside of there, let's give it a class name too. The class name will equal header underscore right dash cart. Let's save that up. We'll bring that into our header file now. So import header right from ./header right. We can get rid of header right here and bring it in like that. I'm going to start up my yarn start again so we can see this in action. And there we are. There's the magic right over here. It's hard to even see. It's a little tiny icon. I'm going to make it bigger now so we can see it on the screen. So just head back into that SCSS file, header.scss, and we will go into the right, and after right end dash cart. The cart will be a display of flex again, a height of 3 rem, a width of 3 rem, and a cursor of pointer. No, let me get that on a different line. Cursor pointer. Now we could see a cart over here, and we have a pointer to it. Okay, we're looking pretty good. The picture here is off of the side a bit, which does look pretty nice. So we might want to move this one off the side to pretty much an equal distance, maybe around 4 rem it looks like. So let's head back in and do that. So that'll be on the header right. We'll do a padding on the right side of it. So let's say padding right. And that should be, what do we say, 4 rem? Yeah, let's try 4 rem. Yeah, that does look much better now. It might need to be more, but we have to remember we'll also have a button in here, so that'll push things away as well, because we'll need padding between this and the button. So let's not really design this fully until we get the button in. And we'll do that next. Let's do that one. So head into header over here, and we're going to make another one. So it'll be called header login for our login button.js. And there, pretty simply, make another import of React from React. That's all we should need for this. Const header login, return, and this could just be a one-line return here. It's just going to return one input with a class name, and this should be header __ login. Its type needs to be submit. And its value will say login. Capital L on the login. And it'll be self-closing and export default header login. Let's bring that into our header now. So we have, actually, we need to bring that into our header right, not into our header itself. So on the right side of this cart, we want the login button, sort of like this. So let's get started on that. It means we'll have to put it after. That's number one, header login. I do have auto imports on, so if you need to import that, just look at right here. That's your import for header login. We'll save that up, see what we're working with so far. Cool, we have the cart and a little login button. Let's do some work to make it look good. So over to header.scss in right. I actually see a naming error. We should have called that header right. Let me look at that real quick. Header right -- login. We should have done that. Just to go back and make that correction, we can continue. So that's in the header login, class name, header right login. So in header right, we have the cart. The next we will have the, not in the cart, outside of the cart. Let me put it just above the cart. And -- login. So here we will do a height. Let's make that 4 rem. Let's do a width of 12 rem. And let's also do a border radius. And that could be 10 rem. That just needs to be a large number to make it rounded. See how it's coming out. It's starting to look cool. Let's do our background color. That will be a variable, which was color. It was blue light, I think. Color blue light. And make sure we bring in our variables now that we're using them at import./variables. And now we can see the color right on the screen there. Now the color of the text, let's take a look at that. We want that to probably be the gray we've been using. So let's make that color -gray light. Good, good. Now we're getting something pretty interesting looking. Let's get rid of the border. So we'll just say border none. Cool, this looks a lot better without that outline on the outside. Let's make it a little better on the font weight. So font weight, I want it to be thicker, easier to read. 800 is as big as we're going to get here. Yeah, that looks good to me. We might be able to make it a little bigger too. So let's do font size. And that will be about 1.4 rem. Looks just about the same. We can make it a little bigger if we want to. Let's just leave it. It's very readable. I think it looks good. And now we want it to do kind of this sort of thing where it changes. And when we click it, we don't want this outline. Those are the two things about buttons that, especially when you round it and this weird outline still occurs. So let's get that out of the way first. So outline, none. Good. Now we don't have that outline to deal with anymore. So now our hover transition, so end hover and hover. Inside of there, we will change the background color to be the opposite of it. So we could just take these two, copy them, put them in there, and then just change them. Cool, let's see what that looks like on hover. All right, that looks a little weird because we have no outline. There's no outline to the button, so it becomes a little difficult to see. Let's put a border on it. So we'll do a border of 2 pixel, a solid border, and let's use the color blue. There we go. That looks like a button still, just inverted. Very, very cool. Now we'll do our transition on it. So we want to transition and all, because we have quite a few properties transitioning here, and we'll do 0.4 seconds. That looks good now. Okay, great. Let's change the cursor to a pointer. And when you make buttons, just generally, if you want them to show up the way you made them on a cell phone, what you want to do, just right here, just say WebKit appearance, and then you just have to write none. Otherwise, the cell phones will put their own styling on things, and the buttons will look like native buttons rather than the buttons that you made. So that one we won't be able to see right now, but you will see it in production. So just keep that in mind. The WebKit appearance, none. We'll change the buttons to the buttons you're making rather than the more native buttons on the phone. It's getting really close now to looking like we want it to look, but we could see in this app, there's some separation between them, and there's a bottom part of this header. That seems to be very helpful too. So let's work on those two things. We'll get the bottom line to the header, and we'll get some separation between login and the cart. So up to the header itself here, let's get some separation, and we'll do a box shadow. Now, box shadow is pretty cool. It makes things seem like they're coming off the page. So 0 and then 0.3 rem. You could also just say 3 pixels here. That's just fine. 0.6 rem. RGBA. Inside of here, we will put the color black. Color dash black. And then comma to 0.15. So pretty see-through. Let's take a look. There we are. Now we have the bottom border on our header, and it looks pretty cool. Let's see what it looks like compared to this one. It is looking just about right. Okay, so we're almost there. Now we'll move over to this part here and move them away from each other and center this one. Probably, well, you know what, let's put on the inspector, because I'm not exactly sure if we're going to need to move it up and down or not. These SVGs sometimes need to be moved up and down. No, this just needs to be centered, it seems like. Seems like it's just hugging the top here. Okay, let's give it a shot. So we'll head over to the cart. Where are you? There you are. And in the cart, let's align it. So align self, and we'll put you in the center. Good, now it's aligned within its box. Perfect, that looks great. And now we just need some separation between the cart and the login. So let's do a margin right on the cart. Margin right. We'll do about 1.6 rem. I had 2 rem before, but I think this looks just fine. If we want to adjust it later, we will, because we need to still do this search bar, and that's what we're going to go into on the next lesson, so follow me right into there.